Okay, let's start. So the Projector module is a way in our chart to get any data from the database and query it, format it, and display it on the front end. So I just got the blank Orchard website, nothing special installed. So by the way, just to explain the current environment, I'm working on the one.txt branch from the source code enhancement. So anyone can reproduce what I'm doing. It's just public source code I'm using. There, I go to modules, and I will need a few of them enabled. So this one is the fields module, is a set of content fields that we are working on and which are compatible with the Projector module I will be showing right now. I will need obviously the Projector module, so let's enable it. This module is dependent on forms and tokens, so it's enabling them automatically, and I will get some data from the import module. Okay. Now I will show you the data we will be using. It's on my desktop, this one, import. And in the content page, I can see what I imported. So what is available is an event content type, which has, let me show you in content types page, edit. This event has the common part, just to be able to have the order and publication date, a title, to be able to specify title, and a location, a text field, and the datetime field, which will date the event occurs. This date is date and time. So that's it. And in the content, I have 14 events, where we have a location like New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, things like that. Dates all almost in November, like 8th of November, 7th of November, 6th of November, and maybe one in October. As I can remember, yes, one in October. Just for us to understand what data we have here and how we can manipulate it. So in the Projector, as it is installed, we have this admin menu, Projector. I open it, and the Projector is made of queries. So here I will create a new query. The name, I want the query on my events, so I call it events, save, and there I can define some filters, sort criteria, and layouts. The filters will allow me to apply constraint on which data I want to load, and the sort on how to sort the data I just filtered, and the layout, how to display it, how to lay out it. So I will add a filter, a new filter. So a group of filters is just a set of ORs, of logical ORs against my data. And inside a filter, a group, I will use some logical ANDs. So I will add a new filter, and there you see the list of all available filters right now. Those filters are provided either by the main Projector module or by some other modules which will integrate with Projector. Like this filter named has comments will filter my data based on does it has a comment or not. And this filter is provided by the comments module for the Projector module. So if I don't have the comments module, I won't see that. So let's use this simple one, which is a content filter named content types. This one will filter my data based on content types. So when I select it, I'm provided with a form, specific form for this filter, for me to choose the event content types only. So I save it. It goes back to this screen, which shows my filters, and the filter name is content with type event. So this display text is generated by the filter itself. And if I edit the filter, I go back to the screen, and there is a description. This description can be used for the admin dashboard for you to display meaningful messages, not the generic one. This one is a content with type event. Maybe I want all events. Save. And this display all events here. So it might be easier for you to read it later or for any other collaborator to read it. So all events. And that's it. Now it should filter all my events. And there is a save. It's saved automatically here because I didn't change this form. And I can preview the result. A preview is just an admin page to see what's happening with my filter. So here we see that we have all the events. Okay? 14 events. So if I go back here, I can do more advanced filtering, like add a new filter on this group and say, by the way, I want all my events for a specific date. So you remember this event content type is a custom content type, and we defined we currently have two custom content field. One text field named location and one date time field named date. So let's say I want all my events from a specific location, like I have a value which is Seattle. So here, because it's a string, the location is a string, I'm given a choice for just strings like is equal to, starts with, and everything. So I want is equal to, and I will type Seattle. So just the events for Seattle, for the location Seattle. I save. All events, event.location is equal to Seattle. I could say in Seattle. Save. I preview, and I have them all. Location Seattle, Seattle, Seattle. Okay, and not the others. So that's already very interesting, because to do something right now with the current version of Orchard, you need to create a custom module, or to create a list and put those elements into those lists. It's just a bucket of items. It's not a dynamic query. So there, it's just only admin. But what I want to do is to display it on the front end. So let's say I want a page with the Seattle events. I go and create here a projection. A projection is a page, is an URL. When hit, will render the result of my projection here, my query. So if I create a new projection and I call it Seattle events, it's a routable element, so I will have a route for it. I could define it as a home page, but here I can select which query I want. I have only one query, and this is the default layout. I want to display everything. I can define an offset, like don't take the first one or the two first one. I can say, hey, whenever someone queries this query, just render 20 items maximum, because I don't want people to do like some DOS attack or anything. I can display a pager, but here I will display it as a events in Seattle menu item. I save, and on my website, here I have a new menu item events in Seattle, and when I click, I get exactly the events I configured with my query. So without any code or anything. And the rendering here is the default rendering of Orchard, which means because I'm in a list, those items are have the display type summary. So if you know Orchard and you have developed with it, anytime you want to display something with Orchard, a content item, the default rendering mechanism will ask for a display type. In a list, the display type will be summary. If you click on one item, the display type will be detail. So, which means you could override how this specific element is displayed using the summary display type. Very easy. Okay, we already have some questions, but I don't think it's for the Projector module. If Bertrand can read out the question and tell me or answer it, or while I'm demoing the stuff, I'm not sure it's for the Projector module. Yeah, okay. So that's the first demonstration for you to have an idea of what you can do with that. What I want to show you is that this element, this list, is a simple list. Okay, class first, last. This is a list. So I go back to the administration, but I would like to customize how the list is rendered. So for that, I go back to my projection events, my query, and in layouts, I can show you also the sort criteria. So I will add a new sort criteria, and as I have a date, a field named date for my event content, I will use this date, and I can sort by ascending. Save. Okay, so if I go to my website and I refresh, this is maybe the default one, so ascending 4th of November, 6, 8. And if I go here and I say descending, refresh, 8, 6, 4. So that may be how you want to present it. And let's say I just want the first event for this query in my projection, which is now a content. I can say items to display 1. So the first one sorting descending by date. And I have only one. Okay? So let me go back here and reset it. Item. And go back to the projection. And now define a custom layout. So layout is how I want my items to be displayed on the screen. So I will add a layout and select HTML list. I want to organize my items in lists. So currently it's already a list, but it's not a customized list. It's just the default list, what people would like to see by default. But now I want to have to maintain it. So what I can do is say, I can select if I want an unordered list, which is a default layout, or an ordered list, an OLLI. So if I save this one, I close this window. In my layouts, I now have an ordered HTML list as available. So in my projection, if I edit it, I can see I have for the events the default layout and also the ordered HTML list. So I will select this one instead and save. So that if I refresh, this is the same. But if I inspect the element, I now have an OL and no more an UL like it was. So you might define to display. So normally if I sign out, you see I have the numbers because my theme defines that OL will be numbered item. And you can customize the theme like that. So let me, am I signed in already? No, I have to sign in again. So I won't sign out again. Here, okay. So I have a question. Does that mean we could define our own layouts? Yes. You can define your own layouts. The current layouts I'm showing you are just implementation of I layout provider. So anyone can provide layouts. And HTML table is already there. It's a grid layout. I will show you later. Yes, thanks Pete for reminding. So let me go back on this one and customize the layout. So I could select ordered list, and I can also change some HTML properties. Something which has been really expected was to be able to change those HTML properties on the content we're rendering, like the list ID. Let's say I want to call it Seattle events with an ID. I save, and when I refresh and I go to this one, I can see that now my OL has the ID Seattle events. So you can customize exactly what you want on those elements. Like you could say, this is for the item class. This is a Seattle event class. So if you save and I refresh, each event has the Seattle event class. So now you can customize exactly the CSS for those elements, for those specific list elements. If there is anything in the demonstration, if I go too fast, or just tell me. So this is about customizing the HTML properties of the list itself. So just to show you the other layouts, I will close this one and create another one. I will add a new layout. So with the same query, you can create multiple layouts that you will be able to reuse across your projections. So this means you can have the single query filtering anything and sorting anything and defining different layouts based on where you want it to be applied on your website. So the grid, I will say content, display type summary. I want a grid horizontal and number of columns 2. Let's say 2 because I have 3 elements on my current query. Same thing, HTML properties, grid ID, grid class, and row class. Because it's a grid, it's more the list item class and ID. It's the grid, the row, and the grid class. So I save, and now if I go to my projection and select this new layout, the 2 columns grid, there is something on my screen. Okay, so F5, and now it's a grid, a 2 columns grid. So the first element goes on the top left, then the second one here, and because it's 2 columns, the third one goes on the next line, and so on. And it's a table. Okay? First table, second table, and you see you can customize class and ID if you want. So let me show you. Well, I won't do it, trust me. Here, if I go to the projector, 2 columns grid, you can change. You see now why you have the row class and the grid ID. So that's it for layouts. Something interesting is that you see the display type summary. This is a default one. That's why it displays like this. You could say it's crazy, but well, it might not be crazy. Right now, for this exact example, it might be crazy. You could say, I don't want to display a summary, I want to display the detail view. So it will use this specific template, and actually for the parts I have on my custom content type, it doesn't make any difference. It's just that this one is more link. But for some other, like for the blog post, it would make sense because the detail has a body, and the body will be fully rendered and no more the summary of the body. So you can exactly define which display type you want to use. And you can use your custom display type, like Seattle event. Doing so will allow you to create a specific alternate for those results on those views and have a specific template for them. So you go to your theme and you just create a file name. Here it will be event.seattleevent.cshtml, and this template will be used because the summary type is that. But for that you need the designer module, and you get a much more help than what I can say. So let's go back to the summary and save it. Okay, I will go back to use the HTML list to show you what I want to show you now. Edit, and I want to use the ordered HTML list. Yes, this list. Save. So now if I go back here in my events, and now I want to show you something else before. So on this page, so it's this content I'm watching is a routable content. It's a page. It's some URL based content. But sometimes you don't want those results to be displayed as a page. You just want on your own page, on the top right, a little widget with the list of elements. So let's do it. Let's go to widget, and now in my aside second zone, I can add a projection widget. And this one is the same UI as the projection page, but there I can define this. So you see now how we can use in different places different layouts. I can say, okay, give me just the 3 first of them, or okay, everything, and okay, save. And this is my projection widget, and I will go on, I will put it on the home page only. So for that, I just say layer the home page, save. So if I go to my website, you see I have this specific layout here, and here the same query but on another layout, other page. So technically what you will do is displaying here the first 5 items of a specific query, and have a link to this whole page, and display everything page and with a different, maybe more detailed display template. So, and if I go back here to edit the widget, it's using a 2-column grid. I can also reuse this one. Save. 5, it's working. So someone has his microphone open, not saying anything and typing loudly. If you could mute your microphone if you don't want to speak, it would be nice. And just unmute when you want to speak. Thank you. So here, this was the widget. So I go back to the projector and show you some advanced feature, because this was just nothing. I will show you some better stuff. I go to the ordered HTML list. I want an unordered list, is better for me. Yes, I know, nothing. You will see. So here I can select content, but I can also select properties. What it means is that I don't want to display the whole content item with a summary type like this. I want to define exactly which pieces of information I want to display here. Like, hey, on my home page, I don't want a summary. This page is okay for me. I want the summary here, but here, I just want the title of my event. So what I will do is I will create a specific view, a specific layout, HTML list, unordered, called simple list, save, and select properties instead of content. And you see I can't select anymore the display type. Okay, save, and I will add some properties, add a new property. And there, it's like the same UI than the filters available, but this one is the set of properties, the set of piece of information I have access to that I want to display on my items. So let's say I want to display only the title. The title is the display text. So let's use the display text. And there, I have a screen where I can customize how to display this field, this property, which is a display text. So don't touch it and say save. So now in my properties, I display properties. In my properties, I have content display text. Same thing, I can edit it and say this is like the title of the event. Just for the admin to be easier to read. So I have properties named the title of the event, and I save. And if I go there, no, I will change my widgets for this widget to use this new layout. So I want to use the simple list, the specific layout I created for my home page. Save. Home page, and you see I just have in my list the titles of the elements, while this one is the full summary of them. So let me go back on my home page, and if I look at the HTML, it can't be simpler. It's a UL-LI like I asked for my layout. It's a div. This div is the wrapper of the content item, and this span is the wrapper, well, is the tag of my property. Okay? And I have only one property. If I had asked to display 2 properties, I would have div, span, and span, and span, and so on for each item. Okay? So now let's say I want to customize this, because maybe I don't just want the title, and I don't want divs, I don't want span, I want class, rows, and anything. So let's go back to the specific projection, to my simple list, and here add another property. Or maybe let's say that I want this field, so the title, to be a link to the actual content, like this link. So I will edit this field, this property, and say, okay, let's use it as a link to the original content item. If I save, home page, now it's a link. And when I click the link, I go to the content item based on its route. It has no route, so it's just a generic route from our chart. But if you want to link to it, you can. And the HTML is simple. In my title tag, I have a link with the title as a text. That's it. So, okay, let's skip this link. But exclude from display is if you want to use this property and don't want to display it. I will show you why in a little. So label, you can create a label, like you can say title, colon, space, the text to display as a label for this property. If I save, now this property has a label before. And if I again look at the HTML, the title, the label is in a span, and the content is in another span. Okay? So what can I do? Next, label. I can change the styles. I can customize how the property, the HTML of the property is defined, how the HTML of the label and the HTML of the wrapper are defined. Again, this is the HTML of the property, this is the HTML of the label, this is the HTML of the wrapper. So let's change, and I want my title here to have a class. So I can customize my label and say I want a CSS class, which is event label. If I save, F5, my span has a class event label. I could also, if I wanted, change exactly what HTML element I want. Okay, so currently the span is the default from the layout. But let's say I want a div. You can have a div. Let's just put a div, and it will be a div. And sometimes you don't even want it. Like, okay, it's my label, it's title. I don't want a tag around. I just wanted a plain label, raw label. So let's say use dash to prevent a tag from being rendered. Save, F5, label, no tag. Okay, text directly. So that's why there are double dark quotes here. So you can customize anything here for the property. So I could do it also with, I don't want to customize, so let's go back to the custom values. I could define my event to have a specific CSS class, a specific HTML element, so anything you want. Okay, so it's exactly what you want to be rendered, you get it. So I remove any customization here. And just to show you the other options, so no result. What to do when the property I'm configuring has no value? Like, let's say the user didn't enter a valid any location at all in the event, and that's valid for the content owner, okay? And so what to display instead? So you can display some text, like instead no title, okay? And it will work. You could also say if the property returns 0 because it's a number, like the number of comments, take 0 as the empty property value. So use this text if the value of the property is 0 also. So instead of displaying number of comments colon 0, you could say, hey, display there is no comment for this property. Or you could say hide everything, the wrapper and the label and everything, if the property is empty, because it will not make sense. Okay. You can also customize what is rendered on the output. Like you could say, I won't show you this one, but you can include a prefix and a suffix to the content. You can trim the result. Like say, I want only the 3 first characters of my title. Okay, let's save. F5 title if. Okay, because they all have event as the beginning of their title. And let's say I want to add an ellipsis to it. Okay, add an ellipsis. Save. F5. I have an ellipsis. Okay, and for bigger content, you can also trim to a word boundary, which means it won't break a word in the middle. It will take the word as a whole, the previous one. So if I add a body to this content type, you could create your own custom summary of the text inside the body. So you could say, I don't want to use a default summary for the body, which is 250 charts. I want 100, and based on the word boundary, and that's it. You can also remove any HTML tags if they are in the text you are getting, like again for a body text. You can remove white space at the beginning and the end, and you can also preserve new lines. So if the text you are, oh, there is a bug here. If the text you are editing as HTML, you can tell, hey, change all the BRs into new lines, or change all the new lines into BRs, sorry. That's it. So I will remove any customization here. I want my title to be a pure title, okay? And, okay, save. Okay, I will also remove the label. Save. Because what I want to do is add a new property, just to show you that you can have multiple properties. I will add the date. And for the date, I have a specific editor. Because it's a date, you will say, hey, how do you want to display this date? And you have all the patterns you can imagine. Plus, you can customize it. So, let's say I want to display this one. Save. So now I'm displaying two properties, the title of the event and the field date. Okay. F5. Title, Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. Okay. You could add a label saying on Wednesday, November 9, and things like that. And again, the HTML is very straightforward. Can't be simpler. One wrapper for one field, another wrapper for another field. Again, you can customize if you want a wrapper or not, and if you want a wrapper, what tag you want. Same thing for the value, and same thing for the label. You could even say, let's do something a little bit more interesting. I go back to my projection, my query, and I will remove the in Seattle. So I get all events here. Okay, I have all events sorted by date descending. Okay, it's working. Let's say I want to show those elements grouped by months? No, grouped by day. So let's do it. You can do it. Just on the home page again. So grouped by day. So for that, I will add a new property based on the date. So you can say, I already have a property based on the date, yes, but this one, I will call it day of the event. And in the date format, I will select day of year. Day. Yeah, it would be better to have day of year, yes, like that. No, this one is okay. This one is okay. Save. But I will say exclude from display. So I will have this field available, this property available, day of the event, but not displayed. Okay, look at this. It's not displayed. But what I will do is in the grouping property list, I will select it. So you see you have all the properties available as grouping. I will use the day of the event as a grouping property. I save. And now, for each different value of my grouping property, I have the list here. So it's a list of lists. it's a grouped list. And you see you have everything. And again, customizable. So my big list has a set of elements which are all the groups. And inside one group, I have text of the group and another list. So you can create groups of content based on anything. Here I based it on the day of the event. Let's say you want to organize by the first letter of the location. You can do it. Let me show you. I add a new property. I take the location. I say it's excluded from display. It's the first letter of the location. And in the rewrite rules, I define trim 1. So this property will be the first letter of the location and won't be displayed as is. It will be used to group first letter of the location. If I save, F5, S like Seattle, N like New York, A like Atlanta, and L like Los Angeles. Okay? And I have all my events. So you can do really interesting things like that. So with this specific example, you could do a glossary. So you add all the letters at the beginning of your page, and then you create this list. And for each element, you rewrite it to generate a link. Okay, so you go to your layout, and you say rewrite output, and you create a link, an anchor. So that's it for grouping. Do I have something else to show? Let me think about. Oh yes, I have something else. So I just showed you the how you can use the custom types to display some data, but you can use any content in Orchard. I showed you the custom types because it's new. You could not use dynamic field before. Also, pretty interesting example. I go to content type, and I will customize my event. You will see how easy it is to customize or to create a list. I go to edit, and I will add a new field. I will add a new Boolean field, which would be called like public, because I want it to be all on home page. Let's say I want a field name on home page. For the editors to check it, if they want this event to be displayed on home page, that's it. But anyone can be displayed on the details list. So I save it, and the Boolean field on the home page, I say please check if you want this event on the home page. So as a web developer, when you will create a website for your customer, you do the hinting like this, and you say, okay, yes or no, and checkbox, okay, I save. So I have a question. Can you put group lists inside lists with each their own layout style? Well, actually, each group renders the layout you just defined, but having one group item, it's one list. Yes, the group itself is a list, but each I show you. So the question is, can you put group lists inside lists with each their own layout style? So this is a list, and each element of this list, of this group, is another list, and this inner list is exactly the layout that you configured, but it's repeated. Because when you create a query, you have no way to know how many groups there will be.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. You can enter a conference ID followed by the pound sign at any time.
Okay, I have weird sound coming. Okay, so we'll detail it later maybe. But this layout is the one you configured for each group item. So
sorry, I didn't get that. Please enter a conference ID and then press pound.
So someone is trying to come to the meeting and we can hear everything. Okay. So what I want to do, yes, I configured my Boolean field. So if I go to content events, let's edit this one, and by default it's not checked. You see on home page, Please check if you want this event on your page.
Please enter
yes.
a conference ID.
Publish. Then I go to content, another one, like event 13. Yes. Publish. And now if I go to my projection and the layout, well, this is not in the layout there. This is in the filter. So I can say add a new filter, and on home page value, you see again specific form because we have a Boolean field. Yes, specific value for yes. And I could call events on home page. Save. So my widget will work instantaneously. Oh, yes, it's still grouped, but no, it doesn't want it. Event on home page is true. Okay. Let's do a simple demo. This one, events on home page, is true. All events, field date, content, no, widgets. Widgets, edit. I want to select this one, save. Doesn't work. Maybe I broke something. It can find the one that I just checked. Yes, yes, or maybe because there are some, no. Well, it was working before I did a demo, so must be a bug somewhere. I have to fix it. Sorry, but you get the idea. So that the editor can just check something and boom, it appears on the home page or anything you want. Just filtering. Yes. Save. Well, that's it. So it should have worked, but trust me, I fix it. It's not done yet. So, and I wanted also to show you how you can query custom content like blogs, pages, widget, tags, anything. So tags is interesting because let's say you want to filter based on tags. If I go to my content and now I say that all my events have a tags part, so I can define tags on them. So again, edit, and you see tags. So tag 1, tag 2, publish, and on some other one I say tag 2, tag 3, publish. Then if I go to my projection, I could easily say, let me preview it. I got all my events. I could easily say add a new filter based on the tags, has tags. And then you see all the current available tags. And I can say only tag 1, save. So this view, oh, bug, maybe I clicked 2 times on it. I will do preview, and I just see the content with tag 1. Okay, so you can even use the tags to filter or to render dynamic stuff on your screen. So this is interesting because here I could even filter based on some record data. A tag is a record actually in our chart, and I can also filter on the same query with some dynamic content fields. So the projectors enable it. And the nice thing is that everything will be done in one query. So it's generating a dynamic query that you will have to do by hand, but you don't have to do it by hand. And with one query, you will have the result. So for performance, it's very good. And there will not be only one query per screen, because when you display this, it will have to find what is the query, what is the list of sort available, list of filters, and so on. So there might be 3 or 4 queries to display this page, but just for the content, it's good. And you can also reuse any content type, like I will show you. If I go to the main projector page, let's say you created your own module which adds some products, and you want to be able to filter on a specific property of the product. What we can't do is make available all the properties of all the records in Orchard, because it would be too noisy. There are so many records, so many properties in each record that it would be too noisy. So what we did is a bindings screen where you can expose exactly what you want to the projector screens. So when I go to Projector, I will show you, and I go to this one and I add a filter. Here you can see I have the body part record, body part text. This one is a specific field in the record named body part record. And how it gets here, it's because in the projector screen in bindings, there is a binding for the body part record class, okay, the member named text. And there is a description which says it's the body part text, and the description is the text from the body part. And you can edit it if you want to change what description it is. And you can also add your custom ones. So let's say you created a new module. You could, with your module, create a new binding inside a migration, or let the user do it. A new binding, let's show you, add a new binding. And in this screen, you see all the records and all their properties of Orchard. So you could expose anything to the projector module using this one, anything which is a record. So let's say you, even like, let's say a concrete example, you have the voting module, which will count how much rating it got, or how much views the content item was, or how many times the content item was viewed. You could say expose the vote result record inside my projection, and then you can use it to create any content item with this value, even if the voting module did not know the projector module as is. So that's how we do it, and that's how we let you have any binding available. And when you create a binding, the binding on the property you create will be available for everything, which means for filtering, for sorting, and for properties too. That's why in my sort criteria, I have also the body part text as a sort criteria available, which might not make sense, but it's available because it's a binding. So you can query on it, you can sort on it, you can do anything with it. So I think that's it. Do you have any question? You can type them or talk for those ones who have their phone or their mic. I won't answer this question, Bertrand. So I have a comment. This is very imprecise. No, it's not impressive, you mean. So everyone who wants it right now, it will be just available in next version, so 1.4. Some are already using it. You can use it because it's on the dev branch. You can run your Orchard sites with the dev branch, with the current dev branch, the one.x branch. Their website like this.
What I'm wondering is if there would be any way we can use this as a front-end search for users. So an example would be putting up the events page, but letting users select their own sorting or date ranges.
Okay, I forgot to show you something. Thank you, Pete. It's Pete?
Yes.
Thank you for the question, because I forgot to show you something very awesome. So let me show you, and you will get it. So let's say I have all my events here. I go to preview, and I can see all my events. So I will remove this filter, delete. Let's say I want my end users filter on what they want, like the location. I go to this layout. Let me just see if it works already. Still. Yes, so you see I have all my events. So I go to the layout and I will say, no, I don't go there, sorry. I go to the filter and I add a filter on the location. Okay, and this filter is equal to, I will use start with. I want all my user to be able, or contains, okay, contains something, to filter on something that is contained in my location. And here, instead of putting a value like contains Los Angeles, I will say contains So this is a token, and this token will be evaluated dynamically when the page is rendered. So, which means request query string location will be the query string value of the location. I will show you. Save. So event location contains this one. Preview. Everything works, okay? So I go back here. Still works. But now, if I do that, location equals Los, enter, I just have the ones with Los Angeles. So what happened is when the query was loaded, the filter saying where this record equals this value, this value was substituted with the query string value here. So you could create, right now it's by your own, it's not integrated in Projector, a text box with a form and a submit button with a HTML widget. So when you click on the button, it goes to this page with this query string, so the people will have exactly what they want. And you are using users. I think user can be used to query. I'm not sure. I have to check. Should be possible, at least if they are exposed with a binding. So you could do it exactly like that. And in the, I just used as an example the query string. You can use anything. So let me show you. No, that's not what I want. Here, Projector, this one. You can use a sort criteria. You could say it's sorted by, well, not exactly this one, but let me show you. Okay, let me edit it. So just this one means you can put anything which is a token. And let me show you the current available token. So the author of some content, if there is some content, there is no. You can use a date. Oh, very interesting scenario. So I have not discovered everything that we can do with it. I have some in mind, so let me show you. If you want to filter and let the user, if you define a defined location, you might want to filter on the date, saying, I want all the upcoming events in the next 3 days. This is very hard because saying in the next 3 days means that even if you define a range, the range is moving every day because tomorrow is next 3 days after tomorrow. So what you will say here is in between or is less than, okay, I can't remember. Okay, an offset from the current time, and you can say 3 days. That's not exactly what I wanted to do, but this will be like that. So an offset from the current time. I wanted to show you how you can use, oh, for today, you can say for today, okay. So how do you say for today? You could use an offset in 0 day, but you could say a date, or is equal to a date, value. You can use the tokens, and there is an example here. You could say date.format year, month, day, which will make every event for the day which is today. Okay, so this will return nothing because today I have no event for today, but this is the ID. And you could also say for a month. So with that, you will say a month, and it will work. It will filter only the event for the current month. So that's the idea of using the tokens. Whenever you have a dynamic value that you don't know, but you can access, you have to use tokens. So I think it will open some scenarios I don't even know. Right now, we don't even know. We'll see. This is an example of scenario, and it will be based on, I think on the discussion we'll have some questions saying, oh, can I do this and this and this, and it will be based on experience or documentation. We'll see. And also new modules, because any module can provide a filter and very specific filters. Like for myself, I did a taxonomy filter so that you could say, I want to display for specific terms of the taxonomy or specific taxonomies. Use the tags filter also. So it will be depending on any external module adding something. That's it. It's been 1 hour. I think I will close. Okay, I'll take some questions. Yes, so the question is, if my content part album has a property author of another content part, will this property author appear in the bindings? So I can sort album by author. So it won't appear as a binding like this because it's a relationship and we don't manage relationship right now. But what you will do is with your album and your author, you would integrate in a projector by adding a custom filter, which would be the author of the album. So automatically, when your model is enabled with almost 5 lines of code, you will allow people to have, when you add a filter, your album properties and here the author of the album. And what you will get is a call saying, hey, give me the link to filter on this album. And you will provide x lambda x.author. So what happens is that when the query is created, I call the projector module calls every extension to say, hey, do you want to be part of this query? And because it's an author and you have a filter on it, you will say yes, and this is a filter I want to add. So you will be able to provide your filters with your own content items if they are complex or add some really tricky queries. Like the tags module does, like the taxonomy module does, it's not easy and it requires sometimes some specific UI. So you see, when you select hashtags, you have to provide a specific UI for that, like a select list, with the current values of the tag. So that's why we need some modules to understand Projector, to provide a way to integrate with Projector. So, well, if you have any other question, we can continue discussion on the forums, and when the module is available, I'm sure you will use it, find some bugs, participate in its development, and provide some modules for it. Thank you for attending the meeting. So I stopped the recording.